All right, got an exciting video here. I have a friend in the studio. This doesn't happen very often, but I have my good friend Tobi. We've been best friends for a long time. Tobi basically taught me everything I know about jazz. And Tobi is a student of the late and great Phil Matson. She went to his school in Iowa, and now Tobi is the musical director at the same school
At the
in
same school,
Iowa,
yeah.
which is super cool and been amazing to watch her over the years, you know, going through all of her schooling and stuff like that, and now ending up teaching there at the very same place, which is just like kind of a dream come true for you, isn't it?
Yeah, like total full circle.
Cool. So what we're going to do today is we are going to just go over a vocal setup and all of the things, all of the considerations that you have to think about when you're doing this kind of thing. We're going to record a bunch of takes, and then in a future video, I'm going to go over vocal comping. And I'm going to be using Cubase for this, but this is going to work for any program. So let's just start with the basics. You know, you got to get some headphones because you can't record audio with the speakers on. You're going to have to turn the speakers off, or you're going to get the sound of your music bleeding into the microphone. So I've got an audio interface that allows me to have two sets of headphones. That's this Focusrite Claret 8 Pre. If your audio interface only has one headphone output, all you need is a headphone splitter, or you can get an actual box that has multiple headphones coming out of it. Or if you really want to go on the cheap, give your singer the headphones, and that's it. You don't get to listen. So I don't fully recommend that because it's nice to be able to listen to what they're hearing. It's also nice to know if there's feedback or some kind of problem that's happening while they're singing. Because you got to remember, if they're a beginning singer, they might not tell you, oh, you know what, something was distorting in there when I was recording. They might not tell you this kind of stuff. So you want to be able to hear that for yourself. You also want to be able to hear the level that's coming in to their headphones. So I like to put my headphones at the same spot as theirs, especially when we're setting up. And then if it's obscenely loud, I've had drummers who need it cranked obscenely loud, I'll turn it down for myself. So I've got the ability to control my headphones separately. So Tobi's wearing closed back headphones right now. I've got open back right here. When you're recording, the sound can actually bleed out of the headphones a bit into the microphone. So the closed back ones are a little bit better, but to be honest, it really wouldn't matter if you recorded audio in a microphone with open back headphones as well. So let's talk about the actual microphone placement and all of that kind of stuff. Now, in this situation, I have a bit of a fancy thing, this reflection filter, and you can order cheaper versions of these online on Amazon. They just stop the first reflection that's bouncing off the walls and hitting the back of the microphone. Even though this microphone is a cardioid pattern, and it's technically rejecting the sound from behind it, it does a good job of kind of replacing a vocal booth, because I'm just in a big open room here. And so the other thing I've done in here is create this little gobo and put some open cell foam on the inside of it here. And same thing with that. All it's doing is making this little area where Tobi's singing a little bit deader. So it's still a bit of a brighter sound than something like a vocal booth, but it does a pretty good job in this room. I've got some panels on the walls, of course, as well. So if your room is really small, you might need to hang some blankets on the walls or something like that. I've also got a pop filter in front of the microphone. And this is going to be an essential piece of gear for pretty much any studio. And you can get these for very cheap at music stores now or on Amazon. Place it a couple inches away from the microphone, and then have your singer now a few inches away from that, somewhere between 8 to 12 inches away from the microphone itself. So pop filter, this one's a 2-layered pop filter. And some people have really plosive voices. So voices that cause huge blasts of air, or their mouth causes a huge blast of air on P and B sounds, sometimes on T's and S's. So this will stop all of that air that would hit the microphone and cause the big thump every time they make those consonant sounds. And the microphone that we're using in this case is the Audio-Technica 4050, a really nice microphone. I've had these ones for quite some time. Really nice large diaphragm microphone. Now let's go over to the software and we'll talk a little bit about setting up your channel and stuff like that and getting the levels right for your singer. So we want to make sure that the loudest points that this person is singing is never clipping. That is the most important thing. If they go to some part of the song where they get really intense and it clips because they're getting a little more excited than they were when they did the audio test, that recording could be ruined. It's really important for me, I find, to set the level before we start doing multiple takes, because I'm going to show you how we can take multiple takes and edit those together in a process called comping. We're not going to do that in this video, but what I am going to do is record multiple takes of Tobi singing and make sure that she is singing exactly the same distance from the microphone, you know, and in some situations I want to tell them I may be editing together, or I'll tell them that I will be editing together the best out of each of these takes. And so if they're trying totally different things in every take, that process doesn't work as well. So in this case, we are singing a jazz song. This is actually a jazz song that Tobi wrote herself. It's called Miles, and you can guess who it's about once you hear the lyrics. But in this type of song, really, it's the process of comping and stuff doesn't work as well, because Tobi would probably do something different every time she sings the song. She's going to sing this one a little straighter for me for this process. And but in normal situations, you know, a jazz singer would just kind of do whatever. But for pop songs and pretty much everything else, you know, you really can dial in that perfect take by getting them to do something kind of similar every time, and then have a few takes where they try something different, and that's totally fine as well. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I had many beginning singers or new singers to studios. And the thing that you always got to remember is that this person is in your studio and they are doing something that is slightly unnatural. And if they are not a professional, chances of them coming into your studio and singing the best take that they've ever done are pretty slim. What's probably going to happen is you're going to record them and they are going to be nervous, their voice will be tight, and it will take multiple takes for them to start feeling comfortable. They're doing something they've never done before, maybe with the headphones and stuff like that. So your job is to somehow get them to a state where they are at their maximum comfort level with you as an engineer and with themselves and with their performance. And you have to do that before they burn their voice out too. So that's actually a pretty challenging, a pretty tall order. Tobi, you're actually a voice teacher as well. Do you have any comments on this whole part of the process?
I would say don't get discouraged, you know, when the first take isn't gold.
Yeah.
Because like you said, that's hard to make that happen right away. Mm-hmm. And in fact, there were some sessions that I did with my group this year where we totally scrapped the whole first session because they were brand new to the studio.
Yeah.
And they just, it's hard also to know how much energy to bring, because like singing live is the adrenaline's built in, but when you go to the studio too, it's disorienting.
Yes.
Until you get used to it.
Yeah. And you have to somehow manufacture that excitement.
You know, it's also a hard mental game to like listen back and hear all your mistakes. And even for a lot of people, just even listening to your voice, like it's the first time they've heard it, and everyone says that, like, ew, I hate my voice. Yeah. So it just takes a little bit of getting used to and trusting your engineer and producer that it sounds good and it's not just like my ego. Yeah. You know,
because if someone comes in and they think they sound terrible and they're a little bit distraught, there's no chance that session is going to go well.
No.
So. And then another thing in terms of headphones, Tobi, talk about your preferred method.
I always take like half of my right ear off, and that's a very important. And it's funny because I just went through a summer camp where we recorded about 20 brand new to the studio singers, and just a reminder to take an ear like half off, because you want to hear yourself acoustically, even though there's not an audible delay from like my voice to the headphones, not usually. We as singers are used to hearing and regulating our voices acoustically, and I think we need that even when we're getting instant feedback through our ears. It needs to be genuinely like acoustically felt. Yeah.
Perfect. So now we will actually talk about setting the level. Regardless of what musician you're recording, whether it's a singer or a drummer, you want to tell your musician or get your musician to be singing or playing at the loudest point of the song. So you can check the loudest point at somewhere in the song and go, okay, that's where they're getting really loud. and then you set the level appropriately. I've had this situation where I said to a guitarist, play as loud as you're going to play, and then they play as loud as they can, which is not the case, right? You want them to be singing or playing as loud as they're going to get in this song. And then you want to have a good somewhere around 10 decibels of headroom. So in Cubase, we have the input meters right here where we can watch the level coming in and make sure that it's not clipping. Then we can let our singer just kind of go for it and we don't have to worry about it. But here's the problem that comes with that is you're going to have to turn down everything else, right? So there's different ways to do that in your software so that your singer can hear themselves nice and loud, but still have enough of the music to be able to sing their best to it. If they can only hear their voice, they're not going to do very well. And this whole level setting thing is crucial. It's absolutely crucial that they have the optimal amount of the mix, the optimal amount of themselves, and then also that it isn't clipping on the way in. So we're going to do that right now. We're just going to kind of play along with the song. And I'm going to put the headphones on so I make sure that I am hearing what Tobi's hearing and not letting her, destroy her ears. And so maybe we'll start the headphones off a little bit quieter and let her sing along, maybe get to a louder part, see where the level's at, and then we can go and make our adjustments to the mix.
Oh, Miles, he played so sweet down 52nd Street, and his legacy will linger on forevermore in every song.
So we've got a good level there. Tobi, how's the mix in your headphones?
It's good. Yep.
Yeah? You don't need anything louder or softer?
Nope.
Feels okay?
It does.
All right. And then another thing that I sometimes do is put on a little bit of reverb for the singer. I won't do that in this case. Tobi doesn't need it, but some singers really benefit from a little bit of real-time reverb. So go ahead and put some reverb on there. Okay, so once we have the level set, we are ready to start doing some takes. And with Cubase and most programs, you're going to be able to see the waveform in real time, and you'll really be able to see how close you are to clipping. So if your first take, it's a little bit too loud, back it off and then adjust your mix a little bit. So we're going to go right to the beginning and do a take. So you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
His name was Miles and he knew how to swing it when he played on his horn. Kept places jiving, a grooving, a kicking since the very day he was born. He birthed our new age in Evans' apartment with cornets and mulligan. And birth of cool was the very wonder of every jazz-loving man. Oh, Miles, he played so sweet down 52nd Street, and his legacy will linger on forevermore in every song.
Awesome. So we've got a good take, and with Cubase, all I had to do was reset this meter to see exactly where it was going up to. And the highest point she got up to was like minus 8.3. So that was kind of a perfect level. And then at this point, we're going to do 2 more takes of this vocal. And we want her to be singing the same distance away from the microphone, because later we're going to want to edit these takes into one sort of master comped take. So we'll do 2 more takes of this, and then just for fun, Tobi and I are going to record the whole thing, but that's just for us. So here we go.
His name was Miles and he knew how to swing it when he played on his horn. Kept places jiving, a grooving, a kicking since the very day he was born.
So we've got our 3 takes, and from there we are going to go into the comping process. And normally I'd probably do 5 takes, maybe 5 or 6 or 4, depending on how the singer is feeling and how the whole process went and how much we feel like we've got it. If there is one little section that just didn't work, or maybe they forgot the words, like maybe Tobi just did, what you can do is just go back just a little bit. And what I do is just press play, let them hear where they are in the song, and then let them come in before that section. So Tobi just kind of punched in this little end section right here. And later on in Cubase, we'll go through and comp it using these lanes so you can see the different takes. We'll go over that in a different video. And just so you know, the keys on this song, the bass and the Rhodes, is Tobi. Tobi is an amazing piano player as well. So we're going to record a little bit of solo section. She's going to rip it up a little bit, and we'll end this video here. So thanks so much for watching, and thanks Tobi for being in the studio on the video and all that. And go check out her school too. It is?
We are called the School for Music Vocations at Southwestern Community College. But if you just look up two things, vocaljazzcamp.com, that'll get you to me, but also SMV, School for Music Vocations.
In Iowa.
In Iowa.
Yeah.
And I also have a website, which he will link below.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. And she's playing the keys with a broken arm. No big deal, 'cause that's how she rolls. So awesome. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.